drafting, and that's taking a quarterback in the first round. They're the highest scoring player in fantasy football. There's nobody else that's going to score more points in a season than a quarterback. And if you want to get that Josh Allen, you want to get that Pat Mahomes, you want to get that Lamar Jackson, whoever you covet to be the main guy, you take him in the first round, i.e. when you took Peyton Manning and his record-breaking season. It's just when you do something like that, you set the precedent. Not only do you set the precedent for your team, because now you lock in your keystone of your offense for fantasy, but it also starts to make people sweat a little bit because somebody already took a quarterback off the board and I want to get this guy. I don't want to miss out. So you kind of also can shift the draft around. I don't recommend it myself, and that's purely because I think depending upon where you are in the draft, it could really hinder you and handicap you a little bit. But to me, if you're the 10th, 11th, 12th pick, if you're like, I want a quarterback in the first 2 rounds, why not take him in the first round for your first pick before somebody comes around and steals him from you?
So Peyton was the only year that I did this. And I think he's the only year that I ever drafted a quarterback in the first 3 rounds. But you're right.
No, you took Aaron Rodgers 3rd round one year. I was just looking it up.
Okay. So I took him in the 3rd.
And MVP season for him that year too. So you hit both times you did it.
Of course. And this is the point that I was going to bring up on that, is that if you have just a gut feeling on a player and you're like, the stars are aligned, this guy is going to have a breakout season, and it could be whoever you feel like, everyone's going to have a different opinion of it. Go and draft that guy, especially a quarterback, because there are years, even so the year Tom Brady had Randy Moss, I drafted Tom Brady that year. The first year that he had Randy Moss, I drafted Tom Brady that year. And it was in a PPR league, and I think I went my first 3 picks. I went Randy Moss, Gronk, Tom Brady, and it was just like
silly.
You're stacked.
That's silly.
You're stacked there. Like, good luck beating me. But like with quarterback, getting like the hero, being at the front end and starting the trend. And you'll hear us talk about this when we're talking about drafting, as being the starting of trends, not the ending of trends. And quarterback is one of those where there's only a handful of elite guys. So if there's a guy that you want there, go and get him early. If you want Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes and you're not willing to spend a 2nd round pick on them, then there are going to be a lot of times where you're not going to end up with them. If you wanted Lamar Jackson, but you're not willing to go get him in the first 3 or 4 rounds, then you're not going to get
him. Well, let me just put it right here with sleeper ADP. They're saying right now 3 quarterbacks would go in the first 2 rounds, and that's Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. So if you're at the tail end of the draft and you want Hurts, he's not going to make it to you in the 3rd round per se. And if somebody, say you're in the 9th pick and somebody really wants Jalen Hurts in 10th, 11th, or 12th round, or 10th, 11th, 12th pick on that turnaround, that's 6 picks you got to sweat yourself if you want to get him or not. Do you really care about that 9th pick that much more for that running back or wide receiver, or do you want Jalen Hurts that badly on your team?
Yeah, I mean, let's kind of use that example. Let's say you're picking at the tail end of the 2nd round. And
tail end 2nd round or tail end 1st round?
Tail end of the 2nd round.
So early in the 1st round, because I'm talking about going hero QB here. So you're going to take your QB in the 1st round.
All right. So let's say you're well, that's not the example I wanted to bring up. But let's use that. If you're
say you're pick 9 or 10 here.
So you pick 9 or 10, and let's say 9.
According to ADP, Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson would be there for you, according to ADP, not how your league drafts.
Right.
So that means that you're getting 4th and 5th best.
Right. So, well, let's just say you're at the tail end of the first round, and you draft at the 9th position, and you go and get a running back there, and then Pat Mahomes goes, Josh Allen goes in the swing to you.
Yeah.
It's going to set a domino effect of people going and getting a quarterback. So if your cutoff is like my top 3 guys or Jalen Hurts is that next guy, if you don't draft him there in the second round, you're not getting him, and you're going to be left with that next tier of guys. But the truth is, that next tier of guys might not even be there. So it can blow up your strategy. So either you go and get a guy in the first round that you really, really want, or you risk not getting the top tier of guys, and then you're overpaying for a player that you can get much later.
Well, and you look at it here in terms of position. Say you're on the 9th or 10th. It's saying Saquon or Bijan right there, 9th or 10th, versus coming around, you would be at I think that makes it the 16th pick is Pat Mahomes here. But if you're afraid that 10th, 11th, or 12th pick on the swing around that second round, they're going to take Pat Mahomes, or they're going to take Jalen Hurts or Josh Allen, or all 3 of them are going to take him, I'd rather pick that quarterback if I really covet it that much, and then take Nick Chubb and be happy with Nick Chubb at that pick right there.
Right.
Or Josh Jacobs.
If you go and get that quarterback, the next 2 guys after you might be like, oh, I'm going to go grab a quarterback.
And then somebody falls to you.
Exactly. This isn't my favorite strategy. Like, I'd rather go and get – so the way I kind of look at my quarterbacks is I'll break them down into tiers. And if I don't get anyone in my top tier, like, I'll usually wait.
Yeah, me too. I'm the same way.
But my top tier is, like, I'll kind of read how the draft is going. Other than the 2 years that I've drafted a quarterback high in the first 3 rounds, I think Jalen I picked last year in the fifth round.
Fifth round.
Yep. But you started to see the trend of, like, guys that were going, right? So you saw, Lamar Jackson go. You saw Burrow go. You saw
Herbert
go.
I think I took Herbert in the 4th right before you took Hurts in the 5th.
Right. So when you start to see those guys go, you're like, all right, well, my clock's on. Like, so the ticking clock is on. And if there's a guy, if Hurts is the tail end of your elite quarterbacks, if you're not picking him when you see 3 other guys go in front of you, you're going to lose out on him, because someone else after you that doesn't have a quarterback yet is going to go and say, you know what, I'm just going to go get him.
And we'll finish up talking about this one